So a couple days ago, Nuggs made this video about how DoorDash has lowered their base pay once again. And so I wanted to make this video to just back up what he's saying and give you my own take on things and show you what's going on in my area so you can kind of get two different sides of the same story, if that makes sense. And I am going to show some of Nuggs' clips from his video, and if you want to check out his whole video, I linked it down below in the description, so make sure you go check that out if you want to see his full video. But basically, I wanted to start off with what DoorDash says their base pay actually is, and so I'm going to read you an article from the DoorDash website. It says base pay from DoorDash to Dashers ranges from $2 to $10 plus per delivery depending on the estimated duration, distance, and desirability of the order. Deliveries that are expected to take more time, that require Dashers to travel a longer distance, and that are less popular with Dashers have higher base pay. So that's interesting. This kind of contradicts what they said in their 2021 base pay change when they lowered it originally. So I'm going to let Nuggs explain that for you guys real quick.
In early 2021, DoorDash changed their base pay from $3 flat per order to $2.25 with the promise to pay more for longer deliveries. And if this were the case, it would even itself out and you would see no change in your pay at all, really. But that's not what happened. In fact, when DoorDash made their official statement within the app, it even gave an example right here to, be fully transparent with us, right? An example of a short distance delivery here was 3 miles. And their example said in 2020, our pay would have been $3 for the 3-mile delivery, but now in 2021, it was going to be $2.25. But that's fine because they said they increased it for longer deliveries. Let's look at their example for a 7-mile order. In 2020, that would have paid $3.50, I guess. And in 2021, they told us we could expect to make $4.50 in base pay for the 7-mile drive. And so what they're saying with this is that we'd lose a little bit of money for going short distance deliveries, gain a little bit, and it would even itself out, which again is just not accurate.
So that article thing that they released to all Dashers when they changed the base pay, every shorter distance order would have a lower base pay now, and the longer distance orders, they would take the money that they lowered on the short distance orders and tack it on to the long distance orders, meaning that hopefully more people would be inclined to take longer distance orders because they would be a higher payout. This just isn't true. And I love that DoorDash puts in their definition of what base pay is, things that we can't even track. So one of the variables is distance. Obviously we can see the distance, but the other two, estimated duration, that's such a vague thing. So I feel like DoorDash can just use that to kind of manipulate the base pay however they want, and especially desirability. I haven't seen any results on if it shows you if a restaurant is desired by Dashers. And I'm guessing this is when a Dasher can rate on how the order went at that specific restaurant. You can put the smiley face or the frowny face or whatever. But that information is never disclosed to Dashers. So they can pretty much play with the base pay however they want and keep it as low as they want or as high as they want, which they don't want it to be high ever. So I just wanted to go through a couple orders that don't make any sense, and there's absolutely no consistency when it comes to DoorDash base pay. And like Nuggs said, it does seem to me that they have lowered it on those long distance orders, which they said wouldn't happen. They actually said those long distance orders would have a higher base pay in that original base pay change. So let's get into it. The first order I have for you guys is this one from Einstein Bagel Bros, okay? It is $11.50 payout and a 14.7 mile drive. You would think the base pay would be pretty freaking high on a almost 15-mile order. But then you go to check it and it is. It's actually a $8.50 base pay, which is pretty good, and it was a $3 tip. So they pretty much stuck to what they said there. Now we get into the next order, which is almost the same distance, 13.3 miles, so just 1 mile less, and it's a $6.50 order. You go to look, and the base pay was only $4, so half as much as that Einstein Bros order, and it was only 1 mile less. And the base pay was half as much because the customer only tipped $2.50. How does that make any sense? 13-mile order is $4 base pay, 14-mile order is $8.50 base pay. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But we have even more orders right here. We got this one to Village Baker, which is probably the most puzzling of them all when you compare it to that last Little Caesars order. So this one is a $4 order for for 5 miles, right? You'd think, oh, probably 2.50 base pay and a $1.50 tip. No, that is all base pay. $4 base pay for 5 miles. When we just saw that on a 13.3 mile order, it was also a $4 base pay. How does that make any sense? It is less than half the distance of that order and has the same base pay. I'm guessing it's because it's a no tip order, and so they've had to slowly bump up the base pay, and I think that's just wrong. I think the customer should have to live with the fact that they did not tip, their order is $2.50, and then just stick to the same base pay. So maybe if it's going 14 miles, yeah, that order can be $8.50, but they have to live with that. Don't make a short distance order have a higher base pay just to try and trick someone into taking it. I think that's just wrong. That customer needs to deal with the fact that they're probably not going to get their food for a few hours, if at all. And that would hopefully wean out the customers that don't tip, because then they're going to understand, I'm waiting here for 3 hours. It's not even lunchtime anymore. I probably should tip next time. That's just my 2 cents. But then we have this last order, okay? $3.50 for 11.6 miles, okay? This was also a no tip order, okay? So how on earth, this is where it just gets, like, where it makes absolutely no sense. So another no tip order, just like the last one we looked at. This one is going 11.6 miles, and it has a lower base pay than an order that's going 5 miles. That makes absolutely no sense. How is that even possible? They're both no tip orders. So I don't get what DoorDash is doing. Does this mean that maybe I was like the first one to receive this order? It hadn't circled around a couple Dashers who had declined it yet? That's really my only theory as to how this is even possible. But it's just kind of messed up that DoorDash says in that clip I showed you from Nuggs that a $4.50 base pay would be rewarded to those 7 mile orders. So it just makes absolutely no sense how an 11.6 mile order would have a $3.50 base pay. So there's just so many inconsistencies. I just thought I would show you what's going on in my area, how DoorDash has lowered the base pay on those long distance orders. It seems extremely rare, like all time rare, where I see a long distance order that has a high base pay. Usually the only way a long distance order is acceptable is if the customer tips like $8 to $10 or something like that. So just thought I would share that with you guys. Let me know down in the comments what you guys are seeing, if you're seeing anything similar. And so there you guys have it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you go check out Nuggs' video as well. And also, if you want to see how much I spend every single week as a full-time DoorDash driver, make sure you check out this video right here, and I'll see you guys next time.